So just how do we teach critical thinking? It's the treasure trove of ToK teaching, and today we're going to start on that journey. Hi guys, welcome to ToK Today. My name's Daniel. Let's get into it. How do we teach critical thinking? Okay, I'm not going to be able to cover all of that in this one video. However, this is the fourth and final video in a little season where I've looked at knowledge issues in the first vlog and why we still need them. Then I've explained in the second vlog, I've explained a little activity on how you can link together knowledge issues and ToK concepts. In the third video, I've outlined something called the ToK Mindset, which is super good and it's where we want our students to be. And in this video, we're going to look at how to teach critical thinking. If you're interested in those other things, then I would recommend that you jump back and have a watch of those videos. It will help to contextualize this video. Okay, let's go. So in the last video, I explained that critical thinking in ToK looks to me like something I call the ToK Mindset, which has 4 domains of understanding. Today, we're going to look at how to help students to develop those 4 domains of understanding. I'm not going to talk about ToK for a second. I'm going to talk about the extended essay, but bear with me. It's related to ToK. It is, honestly. When IB brought the current extended essay guide, they gave 17% of the marks to something called critical reflection. I think it's criterion E. So I was in an IB extended essay workshop where the workshop leader was explaining to us about the new syllabus, and then there were these 6 marks for critical reflection. And I said to the workshop leader, how do we teach critical reflection? And the workshop leader sort of went, yeah, you know, you have to teach that, yes, make sure that they do well on that bit. And I said, yeah, but how do we teach it? And he said, yes. Well, anyway, moving on to the next bit. And I kept my hand up like a persistent student. Yeah, I am that annoying workshop participant. I said, excuse me, how do we teach critical reflection? And the workshop leader eventually said, look, that's not part of this workshop, so we're not covering it. So I went away and I thought, okay, the extended essay is pass critical on the diploma program, as is ToK. There are 17% of the marks for something which we need to teach the students to do. IB clearly haven't worked out a sort of standardized way of teaching this, or a recommended way of teaching it. So we're going to have to do it ourselves in our DP team. And as a team, we did some work on teaching critical reflection and putting together models for critical reflection for the extended essay. And of course, that also applies within ToK. Now, my students were great students because they'd come through the middle years program where they do lots of critical reflection and critical thinking. So we had a lot to build on, and I'm sure that your students are wonderful like that as well. When we look at the literature on how to teach critical thinking, virtually all of the literature puts self-reflection as the first stage of critical thinking, as the essential sort of foundation for developing critical thinking. So we have to look at ways in which students are reflecting in our classes. Sometimes if you say to students, let's do a reflection or do a reflection, it's sort of like the eyes roll and there's an automated response. So we need to try to find sort of innovative and new ways for students to reflect in ToK. Some of the sort of classic ways are doing journals, doing think, pair, share, doing 2 stars and a wish, having reflective breaks during lessons, and of course, visible thinking routines from Harvard's Project Zero. If you don't know about it, check it out. I'll put a link in the video description. It's very, very good stuff, and we can incorporate a lot of that into excellent ToK and DP practice. On we go. It's not my job to tell you which method of reflection to use. That's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to start to talk about how that critical reflection can be used in ToK to develop critical thinking skills. I'm not going to run through all the pedagogical research that's been done on different sort of processes for teaching critical thinking. I'm just going to go straight to the main one, the best one, in my opinion, which is David Kolb's experiential learning cycle. And the experiential learning cycle looks like this. The learning cycle has been developed over nearly 40 years now. It's been tested empirically to be shown to be highly effective at developing critical thinking skills in students, and it's widely used within IB practice in PYP, MYP and DP. So many of you watching this video will already know about this cycle and know how to use it. This video, I guess, is for people who have never heard of it before or are struggling to sort of improve grades or teaching in ToK and just haven't connected that Kolb's learning cycle and ToK go together like peaches and cream. Of course, my extended essay workshop leader from earlier should have pointed me to Kolb's learning cycle rather than saying we're not covering that in this workshop. He should have said, check out Kolb's learning cycle, here's a link. I don't know why he didn't. Kolb's learning cycle is the basic model that I use to plan ToK lessons. So I take each of the 4 stages and I place those into a ToK lesson, and I plan ToK activities around those 4 stages. So rather than just getting a great article off the internet or somewhere, or getting someone else's materials and just delivering those to students, I actively think about, right, how in this lesson can we adapt Kolb's learning cycle to the needs of the students in this class? It's not easy, but once you've done it a few times, it becomes easier, and it's a lot more effective, and it's what sort of boosts those grades in ToK, which lots of people are saying, how do I improve grades in ToK? Well, this is the way to do it. So the first stage of the cycle is concrete learning, and this is right at the beginning of the ToK lesson where we set our students a task, okay? Ideally this will be an active task where they're out of their chairs, maybe they're up at the board or they're going around the school and they're doing things. It's a challenge or a task where they have to do something which you're going to link later on into the knowledge question or into ToK. At the moment for them it's just a task. It's sort of like, you know, in my classroom it might be like, let's do some drama. We're role-playing a hospital committee deciding where to spend their money, for example. It's an active task, okay? It might be a card sort activity. It might be a knowledge search, something, an active task. You get the idea. The next stage is reflective observation. Now, during this stage, obviously the students are going to be reflecting, and we go back to different methods of reflection that we talked about earlier. But crucially, they're not just reflecting on the concrete learning experience that they've just done. They're reflecting on the processes that they use to solve that concrete learning experience challenge that you set earlier on. So it's the processes which are important here, not the thing itself. And that's why this lends itself really well to group work, so that sort of think, pair, share stuff, or more usefully, when you set the concrete learning task, you can have some people who are observers or adjudicators or judges or assessors, and they're going to lead that reflection later on. They're going to be like at the front of that reflection later on. So they can start by saying, well, this is what we saw happening, and then the students who participated in the experience, they can sort of give their experiences and their reflections on the reflection. Aha, triple reflection, very good. The next stage is abstract conceptualization. Now this is where the teacher skills and teacher knowledge really comes in. This is where your teacher expertise comes in. Because what you're going to have to do now in this stage is to show the students how their reflections on that concrete learning experience fit into the ToK framework. So what you're going to do is you're going to model moving from the real world that they've experienced into the abstract ToK world. Okay, and this is where your skills and knowledge as a ToK teacher come in. And the final stage of the learning cycle is active experimentation. So now it's over to the students for them to take their experiences from the concrete learning task at the beginning and for them to apply it into the abstract ToK framework or into the ToK world. So they've looked at your model and now they're going to do it themselves. Okay. Sounds obvious, sounds really simple, but I don't see it happening that often. I see a lot of, here's an article from a magazine, or here's a bit of a film, let's watch it and find out where the ToK is. And to me, that sort of misses out the crucial stages of the learning cycle, of Kolb's learning cycle. Now, of course, the teacher could do some modelling in that, so there might be the abstract conceptualisation phase, but it sort of misses out the concrete learning experience phase. I suppose you can get the kids to sort of identify different bits in the article and underline things, but they're not actually constructing anything themselves, are they? They're taking someone else's ideas and recategorising them, which is okay, it's all right. But to do that, they've got to sort through loads of content that's already being created by National Geographic or Science Magazine or the BBC or whoever. And for students who find the course more difficult, that's like an extra barrier to understanding. So if you use this basic model on a day-to-day basis and you plan your lessons according to it, right, and you sort of, in a very structured way, go through those 4 stages, then it's going to make the whole process a lot easier for you. So repeating this model over and over again and keep coming back to those 4 domain understandings for the ToK mindset, and you'll find that you have more and more students who are more and more able in ToK, and you reach that critical mass in your class where you sort of get lift off and take off, and the grades will improve at that point. Over the coming months, I'll show lots of different lessons which demonstrate this model. For now, I've done a lesson on art and history. I've put together a lesson on art and history that you can have a look at, and it's broken down into those 4 stages. I'll leave the link in the video description below. So that's it for today, guys. If you found that content useful, it would be wonderful if you would give me a like. And if you want to see more content like this, I'd be ever so grateful if you would give me a subscribe. For now, I'm going to bid you a good day. I'm going to say stay ToKtastic, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.